Let's talk about my January and February reads. One Dark Window by Rachel Gillick. This is how I started off my year. This was on my physical TBR for, I think, a couple years. I finally picked it up. I buddy read it with my husband. We were both very excited from all the hype that's around this series. This is a story about Elspeth, and this is everything that's on the back cover. I'm not gonna do any spoilers. She does have this monster in her head that she calls the Nightmare, and the world that she lives in is called Blunder. They have like tarot card magic, which makes it very interesting and unique read. There's also kind of a disease spreading throughout Blunder, and she's on a mission to help cure the town, and she meets some people along the way. I was just a little bit disappointed. I like gothic fantasies. This one wasn't giving as much as I wanted it to. And I did read book 2 as well, and I'll chat about that a little bit later. But this one I think was a 3-star for me. Like I said, I've also read Two Twisted Crowns, which is book 2. This one is a yes for me. I think I rated this 3.5 or a 4. I really felt more attached to the characters. The magic system was explained better in this book for me, and I got more of the gothic vibes that I was wanting in the first book. I do recommend this series. I think it's great writing, and I do know a lot of people love this duology. I read Wolf King by Lauren Pell Freeman. I was super excited about this book. Everyone's been talking about it everywhere. I love fun and fast romanticises. However, this one didn't hit the way I wanted it to. I was hoping for Zodiac Academy vibes, and I kind of just wasn't feeling any of the characters, unfortunately. I think I rated this 2 stars, maybe 3 if I remember correctly. This is about Aurora, who's a princess, and she ends up being brought into the world of these wolf clans, which it sounds really fun, and it was. I just wish I had more connection to the characters while reading it. I think I would have cared about it a little bit more. I also read His and Hers by Alice Feeney. Me and my friends wanted to read this before the series came out. I recommend the book and the series. I think I rate this 4 stars. I am not a huge thriller reader. This is about Anna and Jack. One's a news reporter and one's a detective, and a woman's body is found in a park, and the story kind of just goes off from there. It was very fast paced and kept me on my toes the entire time. Highly recommend. I did finish Emily Wilde's trilogy by Heather Fawcett, book 2 and book 3. This series overall is a 3-star series for me. I do recommend it if you like cozy fantasy and you like true fairies where there's evil trickster fairies and different type of magic. These books do get confusing for me a couple times. I just couldn't follow the storyline as well. That probably is a me problem. I don't know, maybe some of the writing was a little bit too flowery where I couldn't keep track of the action that was happening. But it's just very whimsical and great for springtime. So I do recommend these series, and I'm so happy I have these beautiful covers and I read it. All right, surprisingly, I finally finished the Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows by J.K. Rowling. Obviously, the series has been out forever. I grew up watching the movies. I do love the movies. I don't know why I never read the books. I finally picked them up over the last couple of years. I just read them slowly. 5 stars. There's nothing like Harry. Love the ending. I might have teared up a little bit, and I don't really cry reading books. I just was so sad to let these characters go. I did also read Princess of Blood by Sarah Hawley. This is book 2, and book 1 is Servant of Earth. Book 1 was, I think, a 3-star for me. I was excited about this because I did hear that it was true fairies that like live underground. There's creatures and goblins and, again, tricks and evil spirits and things like that. And I love stories about true fairy and fairy tales. However, again, the romantasy part of it wasn't giving me everything I wanted. I don't think the characters were fully fleshed out, in my opinion. Book 2, like I said, was Princess of Blood. This one's a no for me. This was kind of the deciding point if I wanted to continue on with the series. and I just wasn't attached to the characters enough. The characters kind of took different turns than I was wanting them to. Again, it could be a me problem, but I was also looking for the plot to move along a little bit more instead of following a pretty standard romantic-y journey, and I just didn't get that, unfortunately. I did also read Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. I am trying to read more of T. Kingfisher's books. I love how short they are, and I love the cozy fantasy vibes. This book, again, I think was like a 3.5 for me. I liked the story. It's about a journey of, I'll say, a sister trying to help a sister, and she meets a unique crew, found family along the way, and they go on this quest together. It was a good time, super fast to listen to, and that's what I did. Next book is The Barry Nightingale by Katherine Arden. I've always wanted to read this series, and I finally picked it up in the winter time. I thought this was a perfect vibe for winter, and I was right. This is a dark folklore fairy tale set in kind of the winter times in Russia. Perfect for the winter time. I know we're in spring, but maybe if it's still a little chilly where you are, you can pick it up really quick before all the flowers start blooming. She has kind of like an evil stepmother vibes. She's very different from the rest of her family, and she has a unique talent she has to use to try to help her town and her family, and I am very excited for book 2. I also read a contemporary romance. I'm not a huge romance, just like plain romance girly. I do like cowboy romance, but I picked up The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. Me and my friends read it together. This was a 2 for me. I was annoyed by the characters the entire time. I don't even remember their names. I didn't think they belonged together. I think the main character was just so, oh my gosh, the world is against me. And it's just like, you're an adult. Let's figure this out. Not everybody's against you. It's not your fate to live an awful life. Like, maybe try being nice to people and they'll be nice back. I don't know. I don't have much to say about this one. I finally picked up Slewfoot by Brom. This cover is amazing. I've owned this for years. Finally picked it up. This is colonial England and witchcraft. It's kind of a sad story about a woman who gets things taken away from her, as you expect how women are treated in colonial times. And she decides to kind of fight back in her own way. You'll be rooting for her character Abatha the whole time, at least in my opinion, I did. And the ending is just badass FMC all the way. She does feel like the devil Slewfoot is the only one who can help her, and that's kind of what starts her on her witchcraft journey. And she's just trying to fight for what she deserves. So a girl's gotta do what a girl's gotta do. All right, I picked up Brimstone by Callie Hart. This is book 2 of the Quicksilver series. I really loved this book. Quicksilver was a 4. This is probably like a 4.5 for me. Saris and Kingfisher kind of get separated and they have their own little storylines a little bit in this book, which I really loved. It was made it a little bit more different from the first book. And I loved how Kieran Swift got more of a storyline in this one. I think he's so funny, and he's probably my favorite character in the series so far. So I loved that he became more of a main character, and this book was fun, witty, fast-paced, and dramatic, which I liked. Half City by Kate Golden. Viv is a demon hunter. She kind of lives a double life. Demon hunting by night, works at a museum by day. She doesn't tell her family or friends she learned demon hunting from her father. And then one day she finds out that there's this magical academy, and she happens to have a demon professor in this magical academy. I will say this is a yes. It's fast, fun, romantic vibes. I wouldn't say it's anything groundbreaking, but it's a pretty quick read, and I haven't read about a demon hunter, I don't think ever. So that made it pretty unique on that aspect. I would say pick this one up. All right, my last book is The Compound by Aisling Rawle. I picked this out for a little book club with my friends, and I am so happy I did. This was a 5 stars. I think everyone should read this book. It is Lord of the Flies meets Love Island, which sounds really weird, but it makes it so fun, so unique. And some people might think it sounds silly, but there is a great message. There's a reason that she wrote this book, and I think we all need to hear that reason. And I don't really want to say much. You're learning about all these new characters on the island. You're following our main character, Lily, the whole time, and kind of understanding her relationships and her reasons for doing things or her reasons for not doing things. Probably one of the more unique books that I've read. If you want to read any of the books I've talked about, I recommend to be this one. All right, lovelies, that was fun. That was my January and February reads. I am trying to read more in March. March was a little bit busy for me, but I have some great reads so far in March, and I'm excited to talk about them. Bye.